Hi there, I'm Robert Anderson. I'm busy with another video today on my series on the craft markets or the flea markets that I do for my site. This is another Johannesburg based, or if you like Johannesburg, it's West Rand, but Gauteng, Johannesburg area in South Africa. It's a market that's more of a flea market than a craft market. It's the B and the B markets in Hillfox. I was there on Saturday. Now they're open on Saturdays and Sundays, and they are a little quieter on the Saturdays than they are on the Sundays, and that can be expected because people are off doing banking and other things on Saturdays, and on Sundays they've got more leisure time. Either way, the market was busy enough, and there were more than enough stalls. There were a few gaps, but understandably not very many, and so I was suitably impressed. Just by the way here, these are not meant to be professional videos. I point this out every time I make a video for one of the markets. I'm not officially endorsed by B&B Markets for the Hillfox thing. It's simply just my view of what I saw and enjoyed and did, and how I perceive that market to be. So it's a kind of like a review, but not really. It's just so that I can show you guys what goes on there. It's not meant to criticize or even promote. It's simply there to show you guys what that market is and how it works. Let me change you to another picture so you're not staring at one the whole time. Before I talk about this gentleman, I need to say that there were the Hillfox market is primarily a bargain market. There's a lot of the imported Chinese goods there, but cleverly chosen, markets, the supply and demand tells you what people want. So for example, there's lots of belts and handbags and accessories and jewelry. That is the kind of thing people are looking for with bargains. Okay, just before I carry on, I need to point out that I've not necessarily taken lots of pictures of the general style of this market. I've picked out the ones that I liked and noted, which would be the craft related. So anything that's handmade or crafty or more that sort of thing is more of what I feature. For example, this gentleman had extremely nice range of chilies and chutneys and mayonnaises, and even a health drink that was a really cool item. Here's his chutney. I sampled the Perinaise, it was lovely. Okay, so real crafters, there are a few. This gentleman was fairly nearby there. I see he does crackle techniques and decoupage. There's some nice items. These prices were very, very good. And again, this proves that even if you're a crafter on a bargain market, you must be aware that you've got to be producing goods that are popular and not too time consuming for you to make. Remember, as a crafter on markets like this, you need to know that you're producing it fast enough so that your time versus money is still worthwhile. Remember, you've got overheads to be on these markets in the first place, and that can be very expensive. So you don't want to go there and lose all your profits just to pay for your space. I apologize for this picture being so blurry. I need to point out that this entire market has an advantage of being undercover. The negative of that, or the disadvantage, is it's not out open in the countryside, all cottagey and crafty. No, it's literally in an underground parking lot. But that's a lot of good things for it. One of the most important is it's weather resistant. If it's raining or cold, you can still go and enjoy yourself at the market. The exhibitors or the vendors, their stock doesn't get ruined by the rain and the wind and the dust and the sun and everything else. Equally though, it doesn't allow my camera to take very good pictures. Hence this blurry one. But this guy had really cool, my style, call it hippie jewelry, hooligan jewelry perhaps, funky, I've got no idea, lots of feathers and things. Have a look at this next thing. It's a mobile that was, I'm not even sure, kind of insect-like. So really cool though. These looked vaguely Wiccan to me. I couldn't resist this. There was an entire bookstall, and what did I take a picture of? The naughty joke magazines. There was a single homemade rusk person, something that I'm a big fan of. If you're going to be buying things, support the local crafter rather than your big supermarkets. For me, it's a way better idea. Okay, as you can see here, because it's a well-established market, been there very, very many years, they've got a well-established food court is the word. I spotted this samosas, and I'm a samosa addict, and I only spotted it when I looked at the images when I got home. I was so busy walking around analyzing the market that I failed to spot my addiction there. Now here's an interesting thing. In all the years I've worked on the markets, I've always loved the fact that there's a carnival feeling to it. It's pretty cool. And I reckon that this is exactly the thing. They were quiet with this when I was there at the time. But this sort of attraction on a market can be a lot of fun. If you're going to go down, you want to get that carnival sort of a day out feeling. And this sort of thing can be a lot of fun. So I'm impressed that they had something in there. This gentleman's a true crafter. He's doing beaded wire creatures, as you can see. In fact, apologies again for the quality of my pictures, but as you can see, the quality of his work is not lacking. It's absolutely detailed, incredibly economical in price. In fact, if you're overseas and watching this video, you need to get hold of this gentleman and import his stock. Let me find you one that I can tell you the price of. I think these flying creatures, if I'm correct, they were 120 Rand, which is just around about $10, I suspect, is the closest you get. Probably $11. $11 for that much work absolutely amazes me. And he had, as you can see, a beautiful range of stock. Absolutely brilliant craftsman. Right, now that craftsman guy was somewhere way up here. So as you can see, I'd walked further down, and these are the sort of things I was talking about. Cell phone chargers, belts, CD cases, the kind of things that are cheap and easy to buy on the spot. I'm not even sure exactly what all of it is here. It looks like perfumes and soaps. Yes, it is. Bath salts, 2 for 15 Rand. So it's really good prices. Further down around the corner, I came to a spot here where, in fact, where I'm standing when I took this photograph is where I used to exhibit when I was a trader on this specific market. I didn't trade on this market that many times. It's a fairly far drive away from where I lived at that time, around about an hour's drive. And for me, that was there were others nearer that I could book on. But I did do this one a few times, and if I remember correctly, it wasn't too bad for my product. At that time, I was doing the hammock chairs. Okay, so this is a kiddie zone. As you can see, there's a train right down here that was driving the kids around. Obviously, a whole variety of these cars obviously drive around inside of here. Jumping castle. Nice to know that, again, your kids can get some kind of entertainment. Okay, I'm a nature freak, so wild bird seed was natural for me to take a picture of. Always nice to support my local fauna and flora people. The day I took this picture was a big rugby final day, and this gentleman was clearly very, very busy in his stall with t-shirts and sport and rugby based paraphernalia, just because of the big game that day. T-shirt printing is in fact popular everywhere, and what's nice about this is that it's kind of what you'd custom order on the spot, and literally this lady does it for you while you're there. Here's her press. I think the computer was over here. No comment on that one. And being that it's local meaning West Rand, a fairly strong Afrikaans speaking end of the world, so to find one in Afrikaans bly kalm, ons gaan nou braai. Not surprised. Again, as you can see, the sort of products that are worth getting. Shoppers like this kind of market because it's the kind of thing they wouldn't buy in a shop, because the shops tend to be more expensive than here. So you come to the market and you get a taser or something, or whatever it is you need, a flashlight, and you get a bargain from that. This was a mosaic, is that the word? Person with some really nice stuff, and I never got to speak to him in too much detail. I was starting to hurry along at this point. My apologies to him. But I suspect it's the kind of thing that you could custom order from him too. If you needed a kitchen chopping table or a table and chair set for out on your patio, it'll be the perfect thing to do. And he'd obviously be able to do that for you. Very good prices, again, for the amount of work put into it. It's something that always gets to me with crafting is that you do so much work for relatively less money. This pet stall was very large, and I see they had all these crafting done dog beds. Very nice range. In fact, while I was there, the interest in them was high. As you can see by this foot, I was literally surrounded by people who were looking and choosing and testing them all the time. So I suspect he does very well. They carried a large range of other pet related products. I wondered what this would taste like myself if I warmed it up and put a bit of paprika on it. They did have kennels too. In fact, it was quite amusing. I took a picture of the 3, and then the second one, when it's big, it looks the same as the big one. As you can see, right down to the dog beds, all sorts of cool things. I swung back. These are the same guys, I think, that had the tasers and knives, pellet guns. You see, as I said, very much a flea market to feel. If you look here, here's plastic goods, here's sunglasses, there were t-shirts this end. Not sure if zooming in will help us see what else was there. Right down at the very end of this row were posters, a very, very large poster store. Oh dear, I should have deleted that. You can see how clear it took a picture of that. My sort of music, by the way, Marilyn Manson, and possibly even my sort of attitude. Either way, I must say that from what the market is, and that is literally a flea market, a bargain hunter's flea market, it did the job beautifully. It's really, really well worthwhile. Again, crafters here. These guys do the boots and booties and shoes and things. They had a very nice range. In fact, let me see if I got more of their stuff. They did what's the word, engraving. Here's another stall at the end. Cacti, succulents, I suppose is the right word. They had a very nice range. A couple of bonsais. Nice to see. And in fact, for me, a perfect gift. And at the kind of prices, I don't think I got this at 15 Rand. That's like $1.30. Think about that, guys. I'm not sure if, let me see if I got a picture of these closer with a price. 300 Rand for a bonsai. I mean, how cool is that? Okay, we're done. Just to leave it at this picture while I finish off, just wanted to say, so Hillfox is out in the Rudderpoort Krugersdorp area of the Gauteng area in near Johannesburg. I would say on a Saturday or Sunday it's worth the trip out there. There's a nice food court. If you want to make a double day of it, you could do things like the botanical gardens, which are nearby. So you come to the flea market, walk around an hour or two, and then move further up the road to the, I think it's called the Krugersdorp Botanical Gardens, Walter Sisulu, I think, Gardens. So you could combine a day's outing out there and really kind of have a nice day trip. Well, that's it. Thanks for listening to this video. Cheers.